This is CCS-TV, empowering voices, inspiring futures.
Welcome, I'm Gavin Rogers.
I'm Jack Bless, and we're here today with Harrison Phillips. I want to lead with our first question. So you went to the Minnesota Vikings, and here in Buffalo, we're known for our blue cheese and buffalo wings. What is it like leaving us, and do you miss the wings?
You know, it's been a lot easier to keep my body weight down, not have to worry about my fine weight as much. But every time I get back to Western New York, one of my favorite things to do is to go to my favorite places that I would like to eat. And I stopped at Rachel's. I think we're going to get Bar-Bill. I had Ilio DiPaolo's last night for dinner. So some of my Western New York favorite spots. Haven't been up here to Jamestown enough to figure out where the places to go, but I'm hoping to find a good lunch spot later today.
Absolutely, yeah, that'll be really good. Love lunch, be great. It's really awesome that you're here today. I know you do have your own Playmakers program, the Harrison's Playmaker program. What does this event mean to you?
I was really blown away at, I guess I've never been to Jamestown. I thought it was a little bit smaller, but to see the community come out in the ways that it did, the population that you have of individuals that Harrison's Playmakers serve and work with, it's kind of been inspiring. It's been motivating for me to want to hope that at some point we can do more collaborative efforts here with Harrison's Playmakers in Jamestown. You know, we have a great following in Western New York. I think we work with over 600 individuals in Buffalo area. And the more that we can expand, the more the merrier. So we're excited, and there's definitely some roots already in place with the community you guys have here, and a lot of, joint effort, passion that we could really start something cool here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said your outreach and the outreach that you have as a football player, do you think that helps with getting kids here and reaching out to people?
I think so. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and we don't have any professional sports teams in Omaha. So I just think about my young self. If I was in high school or middle school, I probably would have got really giddy and pumped up if I had the opportunity to meet an NFL football player or a professional sports star. And the platform I have that the NFL provides us is incredible, and I would be doing a disservice as I wasn't out here, trying to impact my community and giving back through my charity and foundation. And I see it's cool to see a couple Vikings jerseys, a couple Phillips 97 jerseys, as well as the 99s when I was with the Bills. So I've taken a lot of pictures, and I hope that the kids and young adults really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how would you say, what inspired you to start this and, keeps you going?
Yeah, I guess this specific cause, I was raised in a house that my mother ran an at-home daycare, and I was also raised in the church. And so kind of the morals and values that were instilled in me at a young age made me want to find a way to give back. When my mom was running this at-home daycare, we had a lot of individuals with Down syndrome and autism that happened to be at the daycare. And so I was just raised with these individuals that became friends of mine and are friends of mine to this day. When I got into the NFL, I realized that there is kind of a disconnect between where my teammates, maybe what their negative perceptions were of individuals with special needs. And I was like, you guys have it real twisted. This isn't a group that you pity and that can't do things. These are amazing individuals with tons of different abilities. That's one of the things that I like at Harrison's Playmakers, is to change that stereotype. And I don't ever use the word disabilities or disabled. I say that we have different abilities, because we are all capable and we all have plenty of abilities. There's lots of things that individuals out here can do and excel a lot higher than I can. And so I want to try to change that perspective as we fight in this inclusion revolution.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really important.
So I know you're mostly around Buffalo, Minneapolis, and Omaha, but where's next? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to kind of inspire next?
Yeah, it's been really tough, because I think one of the most special parts of Harrison's Playmakers is my individual thumbprint. We've done a lot of events where I haven't been there, especially during season. I'm zooming into different events in Western New York or back in Omaha while I'm playing in Minnesota. But I like to have the individual connection with people. I like going to one of my events and knowing somebody, because I've seen them for 7 years now at 10 different events a year. I've seen these guys more than I see my college buddies and stuff. And so I create friendships with everybody. I think it's very possible that we could expand into, at one point we thought, what would it look like to have one in every NFL city? What would 32 NFL cities look like? I have enough buddies on different teams that could maybe show up to a Harrison's Playmaker event and those all things. But again, I can only be in one place at one time. So actually, as a board, we're going to have some meetings this offseason to kind of plan what the future looks like and what is a realistic thing. I'm getting older. I have less football in front of me than that's behind me. I want to start a family soon. So all these things need to be considered, because my passion for this is huge. And look at Jamestown out here kicking ass. Like, can you imagine the other big cities in the United States that we could have an impact for and fill that need, especially for the population? A lot of these programs that are here, even in your guys' city, once they reach 18 or 20 years old, they kind of age out of the programs, and there's not as many events for them. Well, we have Harrison's playmakers who are in their 50s and 60s, and we encourage them to come back just to have another community. So I know that's not a direct answer to your question, but you can kind of see where my head's at.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess one of my questions is, so Harrison's Playmakers, you're reaching out to these older people and these people that you want to outreach to, right? So what are you looking for? Like, do you feel like you're making a connection with these kids? Like, how do these kids respond to you, and what your actions are trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, selfishly, I enjoy going to events like this and putting on Harrison's Playmaker activities because I'm fulfilled. My cup gets overflowing with energy and passion and joy and a grasp on perspective in my life. And, it's been really rewarding in that sense. Like I said, I have lifelong relationships and friendships I've made with Playmakers now, and I think that that's twofold. I think that they would say the same thing. But I don't know, it's hard to really put into words how impactful it's been to me, my family, to the community that we've touched. I think we have 1,400 Harrison's Playmakers across the country, and we want that number to grow, but again, we want my individual thumbprint to be felt along that. So a lot of fun things we're wrestling with, but again, my heart's unbiased, and we have a lot of love and care to give, and like I said, it's a two-way street as well.
Absolutely. Earlier in your career, you said you had a lot of issues with your knee injuries, and you tore your ACL. And you were at the hospital one night, and you said you felt welcomed in the hospital, and you felt you were taken care of and you were loved there. Do you feel it that way just because of your outreach and what you've done for the people?
Yeah, I think so. When I was drafted to Buffalo, Pancho Villa drafted me. I don't know if you guys remember, this would have been 7 years ago. But he was a Buffalo Bills super fan who was diagnosed with cancer. They brought him on stage, and he announced my pick. And it was kind of the famous, he announced our Buffalo Bills select. And Pancho and I had a great relationship for those 18 months or so until he passed away from the cancer. And I think that introduction, that clip was so viral of him drafting me and stuff that just immediately when I touched the community, they kind of already knew who I was. You know, you're only this third-round pick kid. I wasn't playing or starting a ton. And I think that was a good introduction to the community. And then it kind of followed up on my career. And every time the Bills fans and Western New York fans checked in with me, they saw me doing more and more. I was nominated for Man of the Year a couple of times when I was with the team. And I think fans just really bought into, like, here's a guy. Because of my injury, I elected to stay in Buffalo year-round. So I was living here year-round, where a lot of guys get out and they head to warm places and get out of town. So I was here and just in the community. I became really good friends with Jim Kelly and his group of friends, and really made Buffalo my home while I lived here. And I think that really stuck with the fans. And so they're like, yeah, the type of player he is on the field, that's great, and he's helped us win football games, and we wish the best for him. But the impact that he's making, the lifelong impact that I'll have on some of the families I work with here, I mean, it's crazy to think. I was super scared about this when I left in free agency to go to Minnesota. I was a little nervous that my Harrison's Playmakers in Buffalo, like, those numbers would just decrease each year, right? I'm further removed. There's not as many kids. But that's not been the case. We've grown. I think we've added over 150, 200 new Playmakers since I've left. And so it's cool to see that the team I have in place here, my board, Debbie, and all the guys that have helped out, my former teammates have come and volunteered at different events for me, and it's been incredible to see them still step up to the challenge. Shout out to Reggie and Quentin and Tommy Doyle and Kyer and the whole crew that on the Bills who still go to the events that I can't make.
Yeah, that's truly awesome. It's amazing what you've done. You've mentioned that you were a big fish in a small pond when you're growing up, and you've been fighting like an uphill battle almost, trying to get where you want, trying to get to Stanford. You missed some flights to get to Stanford, and what was it like for you, this uphill battle?
Yeah, I've had a chip on my shoulder, I feel like, my whole life, and the injuries were setbacks, of course. Just being a kid from Nebraska, I'm the only kid from my high school to get drafted to the NFL and things like that. The Stanford scholarship and the trip to get there, that was a whole crazy story, but my family was fairly financially unstable, lower middle class. Dad lost his job, so it wasn't we couldn't just get up and go to all these different recruiting places. And I know if I needed to go to college, I wanted to go to college, I'd have to find my way to get a scholarship to go. So there's just always that like grit instilled in me, which I think is a value that Western New York has, is a really gritty town. So yeah, I think, if you say some people had the elevator, well, maybe I took the stairs, or the on the top of one mountain is the next. There's just always more to do, and that's what one of the messages I shared to the kids today is you have to fall in love with the journey much more than the destination.
Thank you. Yeah, it's awesome what you're doing. What are your plans for the future? Now you've always got your eyes set on the future. So what are your plans for like the Harrison's Playmakers program?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of addressed on it earlier. We're at a crossroads where we're trying to figure out what will it look like when I retire. I mean, that's still 3, 4 years, 5 years down the road, but I want to have plans in place so it's not just like, hey, the year's 2029 and I retire. What next? Like I want to have some things in place with Harrison's Playmakers. But again, to my point of I can only be so many places. We want to grow as much as we can, but 7-10 years from now, when I have 2 little kids in school and stuff, how often can I leave and fly to every one of these cities and do events? So we're trying to fill that out, and we're trying to make sure that we have boards in place and individuals in place who can keep things running if I'm not there. So that's kind of like the long-term plan. But the answer would be like I'm still going to be coming back to Western New York. I don't see Harrison's Playmakers going away anytime soon here. So yeah, I was just with Jim Kelly last night at dinner, and I think he said this is his 35th or 37th annual Jim Kelly football camp, or maybe it's even bigger than that. I can't remember the number, but I know it's a lot more than I've had. And so I think we're on our 7th annual Harrison's Playmaker camp here in Buffalo, and we'll see if we can get to beat Jim's number.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What advice would you give to teenagers looking to kind of make their impact on the community?
I would say that your performance or your ability, you don't have to be an all-state player or a varsity athlete or anything like that. Just the fact that you play sports, it comes with like almost a whole like pedigree. Like you're an athlete, there's just a different level of respect and understanding for you, and even at the high school level. So to somebody, you're a superstar. There's people out here today who will never in their life get to compete at any level in a competitive sport. And so the fact that you do and you are an athlete, like that touches them, and you're a LeBron James to them in their world. So that's my first thing is like don't ever just think, oh, I have to get bigger. That was I struggled with my rookie year. Me and Josh Allen are the same class, and I was like, well, I got to wait till I'm as good as him to go out in the community and all that stuff. Well, I'm never going to be that good. So you just have to like bite the bullet and know that there's going to be a group of people who look up to you, and you can still make a positive impact. You don't have to be like the captain of the team and the superstar.
We appreciate you for your time. Thank you so much for doing this. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our community. It's
sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We were here with CCS-TV. Thank you.
CCS-TV, empowering voices, inspiring futures.